Hello everybody, and welcome back to Dark Souls. This episode, mainly optional. Basically I'm just going to show the route back to Firelink Shrine. Obviously on the way I'm probably going to kill a load of enemies, may even clear out the slugs for an extra time just to make sure that we have a good supply of upgrade stones. With that being said as well, there will be a bit of dialogue in this episode once we get to Firelink Shrine as we talk to Frampt. And then from there we will be resuming onward with the adventure, followed by another optional area actually before we head on through and into Sen's Fortress, which is where the main kind of line of progression is going to be taking place. So with that being said, a bit of a question for you guys, and it's kind of it's quite a selfish one. But how do you guys feel about me using external help? And by the way, what I mean by that is how you guys feel about me using some co-op in some of the upcoming areas. Most notably in the place where this character is like to come up against the most trouble is probably with Seath the Scaleless, and potentially with the Four Kings too. And I'm not asking because I'll necessarily struggle with the Seath the Scaleless boss, but basically to get his weapon I need to get around to his tail, and it can be difficult to do on your own. And the question goes out to the Four Kings, mainly because they have really high magic resistance, which this character obviously deals most of its damage from. Now, I'm absolutely perfectly fine generally taking these bosses down solo, so it's not really an issue, but it just kind of makes the playthrough easier, and I would like to know what your guys' feelings on that is. Obviously I tend to do most of my stuff solo, but I just thought I'd get your guys' opinion on that. Almost back to the Great Hollow. Now this is probably the part where a little bit of explaining will be required. Obviously I'm going to go ahead and take a rest over at this bonfire before we go up, just in case the worst should happen. Quite frustrating that even if I do get cursed on the way back up, that I will basically lose all of that humanity that I'm carrying in my clock right now, which is quite frustrating. Something else as well, at some point, probably before Sen's Fortress, I do need to go ahead and get 30 humanity farmed up so that we can get the pyromancy flames and stuff from there. Whoa. Just so that it's done. Damn. Whoa! That was really like not wanting me to get up there. Alright. Careful of the big dude, don't care about you, you're fine. Now I could obviously go ahead and kill a lot of this for... Wow! Wasn't expecting you to get me. For a few extra souls, but for now anyway. Can't believe him falling on me hurt me that much. Where's the way up? There it is. It's the branch. Should have known. Obviously with the main souls coming from basilisks, if you do decide you want to get some souls in here, 400 souls a kill isn't too bad, but a little bit too dangerous for me to be caring about. That's obviously going to annoy me. I think that's a blue titanite chunk as well, which is actually kind of useful. I don't even know if I've already got one actually. If I have, then to be honest I really don't care. So we can head on around here. Let's get away from these guys breathing all this fog everywhere. Oh, my cat's decided the TV's fun to play with. Let's get rid of it quickly. Here we go. I'm out of these guys' range by now, so that's fine. Obviously up here we have another round of them as well. Let's get out from behind here before we get trapped in. There's the next ladder. And really, this is the only part that's kind of risky in terms of the way back up. I did notice as well on my last way through here when I actually went to go and get the purging stone in the previous episode. There's another item that we missed on one of these branches, which I'll attempt to get as we're on our way up. Don't quite know how long this episode's going to be. Could be longer, could be shorter. And at some point as well, I do need to decide what direction this character's going to go in next. God damn it. I hate this bit. There we go. Doo-doo-doo. 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 So, I wonder if we can use that to avoid the basilisks that are in the cave. Don't think I can. I'm not going to bother. Alright, so let's be careful around here. It does look like I can actually back off onto there, which looks like it'd take me up. This one's aggroed. They come in. There goes one down. Annoyingly, it takes like a full bar of stamina to kill one. But one on its own isn't too bad. Ow! I did not. I switched you to stagger me there. There we go. And I guess kind of worth it, 400 souls each. There's the one that I was talking about. It shouldn't be too difficult to get to. Means it basically requires falling off there, right? But before I do go for it, I'm going to rest this bonfire just here. Means it's only around the corner. At least that way if I die we'll be a bit more local. Wow, it's actually quite far down. Okay, quick rest. Alright, so let's go all the way down. Keep an eye out, see if we can find an easier way to drop down to it. There it is. It looks to be like this, going to be the best way, right? That's probably going to kill me, but we'll soon see. Yeah, it did. That's of course why we went ahead and rested at the top. I was about to start sprinting down here then, let's not do that. But, alas, we didn't really lose anything by experimenting with that, so not too bad. Oh, and there's the ever elusive crystal lizard that I couldn't get before. Right, okay. So, it's on that branch there, which connects to that. So, go there like this. And red tile light junk, cool. Let's take a look what kind of upgrade stones we've got now. It's got 3 blue tile light, that's actually pretty good. So that means we can actually make the weapon that we have enchanted, which would be pretty good with the build that we're going for at the minute. Right, so we're going to homeward burn out just to make things easy. More of a convenience thing, no real need for that. But there we are. So we're going to make out of here like a bandit. Obviously it did take some effort. On my own I'm going to go grab a load more green titanite. You can feed them to Frampt, and if you don't know who Frampt is, we're going to meet him soon enough anyway. But by the time we've killed all of these slugs, we'll probably have enough souls to level up again, which would be pretty cool. Oops, wrong spell. Don't actually know why I've still got that equipped. I used my my catalyst in the wrong hand, which is definitely fuel for the idea of making my weapon enchanted, I think. You kind of have two choices, and obviously if you're new to this, you may or may not know there are different ways we can enchant our weaponry to have different effects. And to me anyway, the most obvious one is to put it on the path of enchanted, which basically gives you, I think, magic damage and physical damage increase, but the weapon will scale better with intelligence than any other stat. The other two options, one of them in my opinion is directly inferior, unless you're going for low intelligence, which is you can go for a magic infusion, and that one gives you, I believe anyway, I could be somewhat wrong on this, basically gives you a bit more static bonus to your damage. Still split between magic and physical, but you get less scaling, so your stats will matter less. And the last alternative, well, last two alternatives, one of them I probably wouldn't go for. You could make it raw, which similarly to magic, will give you no scaling from any stats but higher base damage. And the reason you might consider that is you then would not increase your dexterity at all, and you would use magic spells like magic weapon to buff the damage of your weapon when you need it to be higher. The thing against that, for me anyway, is that you would then need to remember to cast magic weapon on your weapon all the time, which I'm not a fan of. And then, in a similar vein, and almost like the difference between the enchanted and the non-enchanted variants of the magic weapon, you then have the idea of taking up to plus 15, which will massively increase its scaling with dexterity. And obviously will still be buffable by crystal magic weapon, which probably gets you the most damage output overall, simply because then you get some scaling from both stats. But as I was saying before, then you have to remember to keep on buffing your weapon. The biggest bonus to that is you'll have great physical damage, and you'll be able to use items to buff your weapon with different elements, which is the biggest bonus to that. But the only real kind of way to benefit from that is to get more dexterity, which could be an option. Now then, also with that bit done, we're going to make our way back over to the central bonfire for Blighttown. Another slug over here, might as well not miss you. Alright. Whoa. And I may actually leave that as a question for the next episode, and I'll put it in the title or something for people to discuss it here. What is the best weapon, or options for a sorcerer type build? I'm going to use the souls that I've got to level up. The two stats that really feel like I want to boost quite massively is endurance and vitality, but also, in fact, you know what, it's going to have to be intelligence. Coming quite shortly, we have a new spell vendor, and we need to be able to buy all of his spells pretty quickly. But I also want to be able to use them too, so we're going to have to put up with this poor damage for a little bit longer, unfortunately. Unless we do decide which way we want to upgrade it. Because we can upgrade it now, in any of those paths that I was talking about. But I'll have to have a think about it between the release of this episode and the next one. So, for those that may be watching it for this is the way out of Blighttown now. We have completed the vast majority of the things that we can do down here. There are a few things we still need to do. We need to buy all of Laurentius's spells, and I think that should make a lady appear down there. And as well as that, we also need to get 30 humanity, which we'll be getting from the depths area with all the rats. When I do that, I don't know. But I do think it needs doing before Sense Fortress, so it's probably going to be after the next episode. It's not after this one, but the one after that. The process of doing that is probably going to... Whoa, that was so close to me falling off there. It's probably going to net me an extra couple of levels, which will be handy as well. These mosquitoes are so fast. Get up here before he gets me. Now once you get to the top, there's more of the guys with the clubs. Don't know what the significance to them guarding the entrances to Blighttown is. If anybody happens to know the lore behind them or who they are and why they're so protective of it, I'd love to know. Because you have 3 at both entrances, which yeah, honestly I find interesting. Particularly as they're always in trios as well, that's also an interesting point. Sets of 3 always. No more, no less. Right. So over here, we have this guy. He's got 2 guys behind him, so do be careful. Whoa! The amount of poison these guys always bugs me. There you go, push you down. A few extra souls is going to be handy, being as I'm going to be using a lot of them in a minute. I do need 40,000 of them for Laurentius's rings. Right, I need to damage these a bit quicker. The damage bonus on that is a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. 230. I need to compare that to a standard soul arrow. 230. 150, yeah, so it's not quite double. I thought it was then for a second. Damn, that backward swing. Need some of that. Nearly there, thank you. That's probably going to be some poo pie, right? Of course it is. That's going to be another one. But I'll make out of those extra souls, it's going to be handy. And I guess that's probably one of the drawbacks of being a caster. There is a lot more cause for grinding. Right, so at this point, I'm not going to deal with the dragon. I was thinking about going to deal with the zombie dragon, but I don't think I have everything that I would like to use. I'd just like to poison him. Basically, if you use a few poison arrows on him, you can just basically let him die. Well, that probably ends up costing more than than the souls he gives you. Means it's 100 souls each for those. But either way, we're gonna head over here. Don't think the lift will be down. Unfortunately, I'll have to call the lift. Yeah, there it is. Obviously, don't head straight in there, because if you happen to have forgotten to bring the lift down, you will just die. And there are no bonfires in this area, which is probably what makes this area one of the tougher areas. You have to do the whole thing in one go. Although by that point you do have the Lord Vessel, so you can come down here with 20 Estus flasks. Which is my recommendation, basically. Right, there we are. So, back in Firelink Shrine, we're going to have some dialogue to collect. Do-loo-loo-loo. First up, let's take a rest. That's all good. I'll talk to you first.
Did you ring the second bell?
Yep.
That is incredible, I must say. But now we have a new problem. It's noisy, it snores, and its breath is lethal. This is no laughing matter, I tell you. Damn, that stench. and I was really beginning to like it here. Maybe it's time I do something about it.
Okay, so that's all of his dialogues exhausted. Now then, before you talk to this guy, this here is Framped. He's not an enemy, and we're going to talk to him now. But if you want to access a more kind of hidden and secret covenant, then do not talk to him right now. Instead, pass on by and don't bother talking to him at all. In doing that, you will basically carry on with the game as normal, as we do later on, you'll see. And as soon as you can, you'll basically take on the Four Kings boss. Now, that'll be later in the playlist. In fact, it's probably quite a while in the playlist. They are a tough boss, and therefore doing it in that order is optional. But that'll essentially allow you to get into the Dark Wraiths, because essentially a different one of these are called Primordial Serpents, different guy like this will basically appear, and you can talk to him.
Hello. Was it you who rang the Bell of Awakening? I am the Primordial Serpent, King Seeker Framped, close friend of the great Lord Gwyn, chosen undead, who has rung the Bell of Awakening. I wish to elucidate your fate. Do you seek such enlightenment?
Yep. Now, also be aware that this Primordial Serpent and the other one both give you differing stories as to what your fate is and your role in the world.
Well. Then I am pleased to share. Chosen undead, your fate is to succeed the great Lord Gwyn, so that you may link the fire, cast away the dark, and undo the curse of the undead. To this end, you must visit Anor Londo and acquire the Lord Vessel. I am pleased to... Is it something else?
Cool. We also have a load of things that this guy can do for you. Now, if you feed him these, he will basically break them down into smaller versions of the items that you feed to him. So, as an example, I'm going to have loads of these. Green Titanite becoming a Titanite shard. Okay? So, the value of those green Titanite there becomes pretty obvious. You can also sell items to him. I wouldn't advise necessarily selling all that much to him, particularly these, because you get more out of eating them. I think the odd one is he likes poo, so we can give him some of that. Pick of infusion, probably keep that for now, because we're going to need that later. Could feed him these for an extra few souls as well, if you happen to not want to bother using them, saving the sunlight medals. Copper coin. I really don't know any use for that, but hey ho. Obviously, you can feed him Titanite chunks. Really wouldn't bother for the few amount of souls that you get from them. But obviously, you can use it to clear your inventory out a bit. If, like me, you have too much of a lot of stuff. Although you really don't get very much from him, so there is one way to increase the amount of souls you are getting from enemies. And I am going to want extra souls, so let's get us to as many as we can get. Gold hem set all gets 1,000, that's kind of handy. I guess these are all rarer sets, so sorcerer pieces. I have two of everything for that. Got a leather set. I guess it's better than it all going to waste. Do we have a Ring of Sacrifice? Don't know how much they sell for in this game. May find out in a second. Means you have one over on the bridge.
Farewell.
Thank you. Oh, we also have Laurentius. Let's talk to this guy.
Well, I see you made it out. Yeah, I made it out safely too. I have my pyromancy in a great swamp, so I can use the manage with a bit of care. Oh yeah, by the way, I can share my spells with you. I think you have a knack for it. All you need are the materials. I'll be pleased to help you. Unless you find the magics unsavory.
I think yeah, we have to say no.
Yeah, wonderful.
Cool.
I'm sure that they'll be of some use, some assistance. Here, first take this.
Pyromancy flame.
A flame from the Great Swamp. Now you're a fully fledged pyromancer. Why, let's get started right now.
Cool. So before you can actually use any pyromancies, you need to actually have spells. As you can see, they cost a fair bit. Some of these are pretty useful, particularly things like Flash Sweat, which helps you have extra fire resistance. Again, I'm going to grab up for these later.
Goodbye then.
And he can also upgrade your Pyromancy Flame, and his story quest kind of is a little bit separate to actual game progression, so he can do his at almost any point, so I'm not in too much of a rush. However, this guy...
Oh, hello. Well, you certainly are keeping at it. Myself, I'm fine. Let's get...
Cool. Right, so he has Great Heaven. Not really too bothered by that, it's these are one. Right, let's see how many souls we actually have here. Now, the quickest way to use these souls up is to put them in here. I can only hope that we've got enough to at least get one of his rings. We should have a pretty good amount. Soul of Pride Knight. I think they're the smallest ones I've got as well. So, in fact, no, they're going to be the biggest, aren't they? Annoying. The 2k usage, so that's 10 just in Soul of Pride Knight. So that's cool. Right. So yeah, we're going to have had like 25k out of this. Leaving me with needing 11,000. I really don't think I have enough souls, enough things on me to sell to get that amount immediately. I mean, I suppose I could sell some humanities, but we're going to go and farm a load up, so that'll be 11. Now, don't actually advise doing this. This is simply so I can get them right now.
Farewell.
And I'm only doing it because I'm going to go ahead and farm a load of them up. And I suppose the good thing to do... Oh, I could have waited actually, because we're going to go through the Undead Asylum. But anyway, let's grab these. Let's grab these. Grab these rings now that we can. And I'm probably not even going to use them right now.
Right.
It's mainly simply so that I can have them. And I think that's everything that we have to do in Firelink Shrine. These guys are probably going to have left, leaving this guy behind.
Oh, you again? Me? I've become separated from my lady. I've scoured near and far, but no sight of her. Where could she have gone? My lady, to think I swore to protect you with my life. Your Highness, where have you gone? I am entirely to blame for this. Oh, woe is me. I am unworthy, deathly so. Oh, I'm sorry. Miracles, was it? Sometimes I lose myself.
Okay, so be aware that this is the last opportunity you'll have to buy all of his miracles. I have no use for them, so I'm not actually going to bother. And with that being said, that is it for this episode. In the next one, should I go and get the humanity? No, we'll do humanity after the next episode. So in the next episode, the crew up there is actually going to take us back to the Undead Asylum. We're gonna. This should actually be a pretty short video. So after that, I'll show you where and probably the route of how I'm actually going to farm this humanity, so that you guys can do the same. And basically, just go up this lift. You have a little jump off up here. I'm trying to see if we can show the lid. Yeah, so you basically jump onto one of those juts that come out of the wall, up the steps, and away we'll be going. with that being said, guys, that is the way to get back to Firelink from Ash Lake if you don't have the Lord Vessel. I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of a tour, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.